Нет, хватает. Adam said they want to fucking talk. I'm about to leave.
As the Halloween season returns, with all the fun of SeaWorld Spectacular. Now, more than ever, it's time to see the world again. SeaWorld. Right now, get single-day tickets as low as $45.99. Just get the jump curiosity fast. Oh my God. This is Welcome back. The New York Times taking some heat for praising President Biden's foreign policy despite what is happening in Afghanistan. The Times' analysis states, quote, in the chaotic finale of America's 20-year war in Afghanistan, a Biden doctrine is emerging, a foreign policy that avoids the aggressive tactics of forever wars and nation building while uniting allies against the authoritarianism of rising powers. Here at Fox News contributor Joe Concha. Joe, great to see you as always. Look, our allies, many Democrats, a lot of mainstream media have even been very critical of the Biden administration's actions in Afghanistan. Why did the New York Times decide to break from the pack and essentially print a White House press release?
Yeah, Todd, the key line in there is while uniting allies against authoritarian powers. You think the byline, the person who wrote the story will show that Jen Psaki wrote this in terms of propaganda and not Peter Baker under the guise of straight reporting. And look, our biggest partner in Afghanistan, right, the Brits, they certainly are not happy with the way the Biden-Harris administration handled this. The parliament literally held President Biden in contempt. The incoming German chancellor said it was the worst policy decision in terms of foreign policy decision ever witnessed. And so for Peter Baker, who actually wrote this piece, and the Times to attempt to frame this exactly the way the White House would want, by outright lying, and I'll say the word lying, under the guise of straight news reporting, is as shameful as it is shameless.
Joe, there's been certainly a lot of criticism about how this withdrawal was taking place and what ended up happening the last few weeks, rightfully so. But do you think history is going to look back on this and say that this was the right move? Or do you think that history is going to still be critical of how this was?
What's up, you want to talk?
It's all about the execution, right? Many people agree that we should have gotten out of Afghanistan at this point, that we've been there for 20 years, and at some point we had to leave. It was the execution that a lot of people, an overwhelming number of Americans, have a problem with. If you look at poll after poll after poll. And again, three things needed to be done. And it's not Monday morning quarterbacking, in this case, Tuesday morning quarterbacking, but Bob Maragay should have been used for the evacuations instead of Kabul. That's obvious. Maybe the evacuation should have been done during the winter when the Taliban is back at their bases in Pakistan, obviously, and get all Americans out before you start calling military out. Just three very basic things that a military analyst, and I'm certainly not one, needed to be done. And instead, what happened here is what we're seeing: Americans left behind. Obviously, those 13 service members of the U.S. military died in the process at Kabul International Airport. So that's the problem that people have, and people will look back on this as a stain on the Biden presidency, perhaps even as a turning point in the Biden presidency in terms of, is he confident enough to do the job, and that's why his poll numbers have fallen as precipitously as they have.
Let's switch gears here. Rachel Maddow and other members of the liberal media slam for taking the bait on a false story about ivermectin doses. Here is the original headline: patients overdosing on ivermectin backing up rural Oklahoma hospitals and ambulances. This article was then debunked. And nevertheless, we have these articles from the media echo chamber, starting, of course, with Rolling Stone. That's the one making the most headlines, but let's not forget about the New York Daily News, Newsweek, Business Insider, all echoing the same things. But not to be outdone, here's Rachel Maddow tweeting out the article in question. Joe, I'm guessing there won't be any consequences for this rush to judgment and this rush to publish. Will there be?
Yeah, well, why isn't Rachel Maddow taking down her tweet? Many are asking this because she reaches millions of followers, yet still it's up there. And probably the reason that she's not taking down because she knows she can mislead and push unhinged claims without any reprimand from most of her peers and from the powers that be inside of the network. No one puts Russia collusion harder than Rachel Maddow. She's the Adam Schiff of cable news hosts. And what happened after that was all debunked? She didn't apologize, and NBC just awarded Rachel with a buckload of cash and a new contract because it's about clicks and ratings, not facts and honesty. And the fact that Twitter is allowing her tweet to stay up is clearly misinformation, shows you absolute bias by that social media engine. But we already kind of knew that already, right?
Joe, by the way, you can Tuesday morning quarterback after Monday night games. Don't try Wednesday morning quarterbacks. I got nothing for you then. Okay?
Yeah, Tuesday has no feel, right? Wednesday has a feel. Tuesday, no feel whatsoever.
And Fridays, on and off.
You are good at the cure. Nice day. Show your age there. Congratulations.
Good day.
Thanks, Tension.
It's 15 minutes after the hour right now. Texas has become a major target for the far left over a series of Republican-backed bills that made it to the governor's desk, despite heavy opposition from Democrats, Hollywood, and the media. State Senator Ryan Hughes joins us next.
And not a lot of people have heard about this, but more than 1,000 schools across our country are actually closed for in-person learning amid spiking COVID cases. So, is this the right move? We're going to ask Fox News medical contributor Dr. Martin McCary coming up.
Make this the summer of sand on the floorboard and mud on the tires. When one day introduce you to 1,000 friends, you get married happy. And one spirit of adventure took you places you hadn't dreamed existed. Make this the summer you discover there's only one. At the Jeep Labor Day sales event.
Get $2,250 combined cash allowance plus $500 bonus cash on select 2021 Jeep Grand Cherokee models. Plus, get 3 years no cost maintenance with the Jeep Wave program.
This is our collective history. Together, it's ours to protect. New histories to be written. New records shattered. New legacies forged. CrowdStrike. We stop breaches.
Here's Empire Today's biggest sale. 50/50/50 sale. 50% off carpet and lawn, 50% off packing materials, and 50% off installation. That's right. Now, your entire project, you can save thousands. Empire's 50/50/50 sale won't last long. You'll spend 50% off carpet and lawn, 50% off packing and materials, and 50% off installation.
If you struggle to lose weight, you might think you were born with a slow metabolism. But what you may have is insulin resistance. Fat becomes trapped inside your body and it becomes very difficult to lose weight. Now there's release from Gola. It naturally helps reverse insulin resistance, stops sugar cravings, and releases stubborn fat, all while controlling stress and emotional eating. At last, a diet actually works. Go to Gola.com to take notes. That's GOLO.com.
Investors, the best hedge is hard assets with lower risk and higher returns, including steady cash flow. The NRIA Prime Real Estate Fund pays a 10% monthly distribution plus targeted returns to 21%. Our fund diversifies against stock market risk with over $1 billion of new development value in progress. The Fed has plummeted interest rates, so hedge against inflation and stocks drop. Call for our free investors report, Flow with the Fed. Call 800-800-1414. That's 800-800-1414.
It's time to hit refresh, to be buttoned up, to feel your best and looking for it by using Just for Men shampoo and hair color to eliminate gray in 5 easy minutes. It's time to look forward. Just for Men shampoo and color.
Brushing only reaches 25% of your mouth. Listerine cleans virtually 100%, helping to prevent gum disease and bad breath. Never settle for 25%. Always go for 100%. Bring out the bold.
Do you have a life insurance policy you no longer need? Now you can sell your policy, even a term policy, for an immediate cash payment. Call Coventry Direct to learn more.
We thought we had planned carefully for our retirement.
But we quickly realized we needed a way to supplement our income.
Our friends sold their policy to help pay their medical bills. And that got me thinking,
Maybe selling our policy can help with our retirement.
I've skipped a book, so I did some research and called Coventry Direct. They explain life insurance is a valuable asset that can be sold.
We learned we can sell all of our policy or keep part of it with no future payments. Who knows? We sold our policy. Now we can relax and enjoy our retirement as we have planned. If you have $100,000 or more of life insurance, you may qualify to sell your policy. Don't cancel or let your policy lapse without finding out what it's worth. Visit CoventryDirect.com to find out if your policy qualifies. Or call 1-800-983-6200. Coventry Direct, redefining insurance.
Texas Governor Greg Abbott set to sign the much talked about election integrity bill today after a months-long battle with Democrats who ran off to D.C. to try and block it. Here to discuss, Texas State Senator Brian Hughes. Great to see you as always. Look, we knew this would eventually become law. What did Democrats accomplish with their stunt?
Well, we want to talk, thanks for having me. They delayed things. That's about it. When they came back, they were facing the same bill that they had left. The common sense reforms that people were facing want, easy to vote, hard to achieve. So they delayed things. I think some politicians naturally have made a lot of money out of it. It cost the taxpayers a lot of money, but they finally came back to work and business is getting done.
The Democratic narrative on this bill is summed up by your fellow state senator, Cesar Blanco, the Democrat. He says the following: I worry that this bill is going to take our state down a very dangerous, slippery slope. And I think that this narrative is dangerous. This narrative that there's widespread fraud with no evidence, I think it's damaging to our democracy. How do Republicans in Texas and throughout the country...
There's like a second a minute, bitch.
Those talking points.
We stay away from generalizations and we stick with the facts. For example, I've got a county commissioner in my district out on bail for mail ballot fraud. Hundreds of cases across the state pending against dozens of defendants.
All right, guys, I'm going to go.